Hello and welcome to Arcade Couch, the best place to chill with friends and get your game goodness each and every Monday. My name's Dawn Blight, and joining me on the couch this week, Ashley Hobley.
Hey John, excited to be here, even though it's a pretty shit week in gaming again.
Every week is a shit week in gaming. Also here, Kira Marchant.
Hi, audience member. Just because you downloaded this podcast episode today, you can't get a refund on it. You've downloaded it, even if you've yet to listen to it. You can't get any form of refund of the knowledge and space that we have.
Yeah, you can't get that data back.
You can't get the data back.
Suckers!
Kieran's salty because he can't get a refund on PlayStation.
It's so fucking dumb. It is the dumbest refund policy. The moment you download it, you can no longer get a refund? The fuck?
Yeah, is it faulty? No. Then you're not eligible for a refund.
You could go to the ACCC if you want.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to waste my time. It's not that. It's not
exactly.
that important.
Done.
It might take you a year to get a result, but
yeah. You know,
it'll happen. This week on the show, not a million, but quite a lot of people laid off at different companies and video game studios and stuff. So 2024 continues. Pokemon Direct happened and Final Fantasy release.
Yeah.
So the week played out, I think.
Wait, we're not talking about Toys for Bob starting up their own independent company after.
Got that in here too.
Yeah, cool. Because they just bought themselves out from.
Jeff Keighley said so.
They got fired by them.
Let's reword that.
Hired themselves for their own jobs.
They departed. Let's just say it like that, eh?
All right, we'll get into that in a sec. Just quickly, the one review I posted up last week was for Dites and Deities. The Australian cooking rhythm narrative game thing. I can't remember who was there when I was playing it at PAX last year.
I was there.
You
I
were
remember.
there. Kept trying to beat the fucking
Everybody was watching you screw up the boss fight. Like,
Yeah.
time after time after time. We just had to drag Dylan away at some point.
You did, actually.
He was hogging it. It was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. Fuck them kids, you know what I mean? It's a pretty cool game. I ended up giving it a 7. It's a game in which you play as a newly born deity. He sort of comes out of nowhere, and I mean the story is very like minimal and sort of weird. But basically the idea is that there's a big bad god, more or less, that's called KFZ. And they have like destroyed the food culture around the world. And they're a colonel, and they may or may not be a parody of the colonel from KFC, who's to say. And then you can sort of play around these 3 main worlds where each one has a different deity that you've got to like save from being controlled by the big bad guy. They're all set in different cultures and locations. And the music and the food and the art and everything's inspired by that. So each level is about, I think each world's got like 3 or 4 levels. It only takes like a couple hours to beat the game, which I'll come back to as I don't mind that short, but like my biggest complaint with this game is narratively it just wasn't fulfilling. So the levels are really, really cool. The main crux of the game and the reason I struggled to get pulled away, to get pulled off it at PAX was because it's a very simplistic rhythm game with some really cool, unique music created for it. Like especially the first world, which is set in Australia, and it's got all these indigenous music, like using the didgeridoo and stuff like that, with which is really just cool sorts of remixes with heavy bass and stuff like that you're playing for it. But gameplay wise, all you do is you're just moving along a track. Well, no, the track's sort of moving towards you, and then I guess you just move left or right across the screen. You just got to hit the notes as they come across, and then you cook food at the same time, and your character plays out like that. So it's very cool. I liked all the music, but yeah, my main complaint is by the time you reach the end of the third, I think it's only 3 worlds, the end of that third world, it's like you fight the boss and then the game just ends to the point. Like it's sort of like I was like clicking through the text, I was reading the text boxes, and it's like playing out, and then next second the credits rolling. I'm like, oh, that was it. Like I seriously didn't expect the game to end at that point. I'm like, oh yeah, surely there must be more, but yeah. Which, it's that whole thing of it's only like, 4 people, dev team, whatever else. Like that's fine. Like there's plenty of games I've come on here and given 9s to and stuff that took like half an hour to beat. I just think it's about did that like short experience do the best job at like telling a story within that time. And for this, I'd say that's sort of what holding this back for me personally. But I really enjoyed it and would suggest checking it out, especially if you like music rhythm games. I'm chucking on your Steam wish list, see if it goes on sale or something. All right, let's get into the first lot of news discussion for the week. Whatever order I've got these in. Well, fuck it. I was going to read through all the headlines. And just fucking tell me where you want to start. So they're all from Press Start. I'm just going to read through all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 headlines I got here. Embracer is reportedly selling off Star Wars. Knights of the Old Republic make a developer Saber Interactive Studio. The Embracer-owned Gearbox software is apparently close to being sold off. Spyro and Crash developer Toys for Bob is leaving Activision to go dependent. EA has cancelled Respawn Star Wars FPS in its mass layoffs. Life is Strange developer Deck 9 has laid off 20% of its staff. So Sony is laying off around 900 PlayStation employees and shutting down at least one studio. That was this week.
Yep.
All of those stories. Like, insanity.
Well, I mean, half of those stories are positive,
Which one?
The Spyro, Toys for Bob leaving Activision, Gearbox being sold to somebody other than Embracer, and, Saber Interactive also leaving Embracer.
I mean,
those are all positive. We're going out on our own. We're not going to be tied down by these.
Like Toys for Bob just said,
bunch of people.
We're just going to leave. We're just going to start our own studio. We're just going to reboot.
I mean,
that's what Toys for Bob said.
Yeah,
they were not. There was no other choice involved in that decision making at all. They were like, "Nah, fuck it. We're just doing this."
Yeah.
That's a narrative to go with, I suppose.
That's a narrative. I mean, which one stands out for you the most, Kieran, from this week of video game news?
I do think it is Toys for Bob and Activision, not only because of the Jeff Keighley news, but like it is.
Here's his tweet, by the way, for people who don't know what we're referencing a minute ago. The team at Toys for Bob is spinning off from Activision Microsoft as an independent studio. I've loved their games for 30 plus years and I'm excited for the next chapter they will write.
When did he tweet that?
He tweeted that 10:12 a.m. on the 1st to the 3rd.
When was his previous tweet?
His previous tweet was the one before that was shortly after the Sony layoffs, where he tweeted, "Game Scent has been announced. Sophisticated AI releases real scents alongside your gameplay, including smell of gunfire, explosions, racing storm, forest, blah blah blah." That was a couple hours after the Sony layoffs. So,
did you write anything before that?
Nope, nothing in between. Jeff, here's the sand. Here's Jeff's head. Like fucking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we want to get into the whole Jeff thing again. I feel like, everybody's. I think, I can understand he wants to keep a persona of being positive about video games and not want to touch on any of the disappointing stuff. But yeah, it's a bad look when,
it's a terrible look.
I mean, for the general person, they're not going to care, I feel like, but for people who care about video games and like are constantly online, someone who has forced himself into becoming one of the premier faces of video games, not addressing it at any point in the last
one of the largest
4 years. I don't know.
And the one time he's spoken about anything ever was when he was like, "Fuck Konami," and we like brought Hideo Kojima out and everything.
When he has won friends.
Suddenly he chose to pick up the sword. Then every other time he's like, "Nah, don't know anything."
Well, I mean, he was probably like, "Man, it worked this one time. It's never going to work again. It's never gonna. It's never going to pan out for me like it did now. So I'm never going to try again."
I just think it's that thing of like no one's expecting him to save the world, but it's just that like not even like.
Just, hey, sorry to hear that all these devs got fired.
He doesn't even acknowledge it. Like,
no,
it's so weird. Like, Toys for Bob is spun out. Like, that's such weird phrasing. They were spun out.
I mean,
they got let go. Like, they got fired. Made redundant.
Did they?
Yes.
Yes. 100% yes.
100% yes. That's how it played out. And then shortly after that, they announced that they were going to do their own thing.
I mean, I don't know how you get fired and then you were able to take the name and everything unless you came to that agreement kind of before. You know what I mean?
I know. Do they own the name Toys for Bob? They were brought by Microsoft at one point. Maybe when they were.
Yeah, they don't own it.
No, that's like
the employees at Toys for Bob do not own the name Toys for Bob. Is what I'm saying. You know,
why not?
So they had to come to some sort of agreement to allow them to take all the properties, all the assets for Toys for Bob. Name,
maybe
probably offices, contracts. You know,
maybe when Microsoft brought them,
I don't think you can do that if you're fired. Yeah, that is what
let go. Are you trying to argue that they would not let fired?
No, I think they came to arrangement that that instead of being let go, they would go off spin off, with the name and everything, there's a difference between Toys for Bob and London Studios, is what I'm saying.
This is what he's trying to get at.
Yeah.
I think.
Oh, my brain cells over here. Fucking going insane.
I mean, it's not Bungie leaving Microsoft, but it's still, them choosing to leave rather than be fired.
I think there's some.
I mean, I'm sure it wasn't their first choice. I'm sure there's a little bit of being coerced into making this move, and
but, okay,
there was a fair chance that they would have been closed if they didn't do this.
If you're in the meeting and your boss is about to fire you, and you all of a sudden pull out the cool lick of, well, I quit, and that it's still the same situation for you. Like you're not going of your own volition.
Yeah, but they're not getting any redundancy pay or anything. You know what I mean? So technically, they're not fired.
Oh my God, Ashley.
It's just verbiage. It doesn't matter.
Ashley, you are the biggest fence sitter of all time. And I'm surprised you're fence sitting towards Microsoft this time. That's a weird one for you.
I'm happy for Toys Bob. They're off doing what they want to do now.
Yeah,
I'm sure that everybody knows.
Their choice was for their studio to get closed down and turn into an independent studio where they all have to work from home now. And they have less resources because they're not part of the Microsoft team anymore. I'm sure that was their first choice. What are you talking about?
But they've got jobs still. I don't know what to tell you. They don't have the financial backing of Microsoft, but they're still employed, which is far more than tens of thousands of the game devs out there right now. So,
Well, look, all right. If we're playing fucking who got the worst end of the stick here,
wait, so it would be okay. So if all these game devs that are getting fired, sadly currently, if they all form together to make a new studio, then it would be okay. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it's not the exact same because they're taking the name and the I'm sure they've got some of the resources that they had beforehand. This is really just like minor details. This is really, you guys are jumping on something that's not really that important.
All right, talk about another one that I swear I'd like to see you talk about this. To spin this one.
I don't know. Saber Interactive, did they get fired when they're getting sold off? They got fired by Embracer, only to be bought by somebody else.
I mean,
depends if they wanted to be sold or not, right?
So is anybody who gets traded to another club fired by that club?
Technically, yeah, because that club is. You know what? It's like the worst bit. It's it is like the funny thing, right? So if we want to do sports teams analogies, right? That when somebody trades to another team but then pays half of that person's salary, that team is saying to that player, we would rather.
Case, yes, they're compensating. They're paying them still to not work there.
We would rather pay you to play against us than it's more value than if you played for us.
And that's not what the case with Toys for Bob.
Now-
Toys for Bob. No. Toys for Bob was fucking Wrexham, but Ryan Reynolds and Paul McElherney decided, you know what? We're just gonna get rid of Wrexham now. We're good over here with something else. And they're like, we get to keep Wrexham, right? And then they've got their fucking little Wrexham shirts now, and that's all they got. Good job.
Now, let me ask you this question. Why, until we know for certain, why do we view Embracer selling Saber Interactive as a good thing?
Because Embracer sucks.
Embracer do suck.
And eventually would have closed them down.
But how do we know
now-
they're not going to still get closed down?
But now we're happy that Embracer made money out of selling them all.
Yeah, this is the first time they made profit in like years, you know.
Wait, why are you celebrating that for Embracer?
No, it's just a fact.
What? You are on big corpo's dick, aren't you? You are on big corporation capitalism's dick.
No, I just
today,
wanted to get my
actually.
joke in. All right, jeez.
Show me your crypto fucking blanket, you sleeping motherfucker.
I got a bunch of Embracers, yes.
Yeah. Because here's how this plays out. Yeah, yes, Embracer sells these places. They could get brought by companies who everything goes perfect. But a lot of the time what happens is someone's just going to purchase something like Saber Interactive. Maybe you have a really shitty company purchase it and only want to purchase the company for the IPs they have, and then they just fire all the staff.
What IPs does Saber Interactive have?
I don't know. Or maybe they just want to keep some of the technologies, or, like, I don't know, or at least they let go half the team because they just want to keep the core team. Like they got like 3,500 employees, right?
So Saber
according to this
Interactive
article.
made such big games as World War Z, Evil Dead the game, Mud Runners, Dakar
Mud Runners
Desert
is-
Rally.
Yeah.
It's Evil Dead, the asymmetrical one.
Yeah, that was the asymmetrical one. Yeah. That did
Because I
really
just
well.
don't like all these
No.
cases where so Embracer sucks. I just don't view Embracer selling as necessarily means everything's sunshine.
I mean,
and
it is
rainbows.
slightly better than them firing everybody.
It is in the scenario of them just firing everybody. Yes, this still doesn't mean it's technically a good news story. Like even a company like Gearbox.
If it was a good thing, if Saber Interactive were in a healthy and good spot, Embracer wouldn't be selling them.
Well,
No.
no. Yeah, I guess. I
Like,
think
if
if
they
they were
were-
further along in development of a project, then they wouldn't be selling them. They're probably
because they'd hope that they could make some money back on whatever they come out with.
yeah. But because they're working on the New Republic game that they've inherited from
Rebooted 16
Aspire.
times or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, how about the EA one? EA lays off 700 people, nearly 700 people. They're apparently going to cancel their Star Wars games, not make games based on novel IPs anymore.
That shit.
Real shit.
This is the first one you're like, yeah,
The-
that shit.
I'll just go down there. That's a lot of people. But again, I feel like I think it's interesting their reasoning. They're like, we need to, the licensing fees are like kind of killing us. We didn't, you see, Star Wars Jedi Survivor sold a ton of copies, and yet they don't want to double down on that success. It's probably because a large portion of their money is going to Marvel, Disney.
I also think that EA's like the people making decisions at EA look at anything that isn't FIFA/EA clubs and look at the revenue that comes from Ultimate Team and goes,
Yeah.
Why aren't you making this money?
Yeah.
Why
They're
aren't you
looking at
making
that and
Ultimate
Apex,
Team?
and then they're like, why aren't you making this kind of money? That's true.
Like-
that could be completely fair. Yeah.
That's all it is, and like that it is their viewpoint because Ultimate Team makes so much goddamn stupid money. They're looking at that, and then they look everywhere else, and they go, the rest of you aren't doing a good enough job because your games aren't making this kind of profit. It is the reason why we are in this live surface abyss of gaming at the moment for those kinds of games, because developers keep going or publishers keep going. We
Yeah,
want
make it-
Ultimate Team money.
Yeah.
We need to crank out that sort of money from something. And so now you're telling me what? a company that actually does crank out Ultimate Team money can't even use that Ultimate Team money to continue to do projects like Star Wars and projects that are more story driven and focused. Fuck, if they can't do that, how the fuck does anybody do that in the current environment, right?
I tell you, do you want to know who's actually happy about this news? Titanfall fans. Like, oh, you don't want to do licensed games, things you don't own the IP for, and we've just taken Respawn off a bunch of projects? What's an IP that we do own? A first-person shooter that people want another game from.
Trust me, they're well aware that they've got the IP time for, because they're asked about it the fucking third one every second chance someone gets a time.
Yep.
All I would say is, like, I can never take any of these stories where they're like, man, we just weren't making, like, just fell short of expectation. And then you like Google how much this fucking Andrew Wilson, the CEO of EA, get paid. You're like, all right, everything you just said is redundant to me. like the amount of money you make.
Yeah, it would. It's interesting. It would be interesting to know how far along those games were. Like, I feel like they announced the Mandalorian game like ages ago. It feels like
yeah, they announced.
Even
stuff,
though
they
announced stuff, are they still making the Iron Man game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Marvel stuff is apparently still going ahead. Black Panther, Iron Man.
Okay.
So
the Black Panther Captain America game.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think that's them. It's just a Black Panther them.
Or whatever it is.
The Black Panther Captain America games that any
right. Okay. Sorry.
From one of the film studios game division. Yeah.
But no, I remember they mentioned Iron Man definitely and said that's still chugging along.
Yeah. Probably too far along to kill.
Yeah.
The numbers worked out that way. Yeah.
All right, Deck Nine Games, 20% of its staff has been laid off. They said on Twitter, like many other in the games industry right now, Deck Nine has been affected by the game industry's worsening market conditions. Today, we made the difficult decision to lay off 20% of its staff. These people are amazing, talented, and awesome developers. They've made a huge impact during their time at Deck Nine Games, and we did not take this decision. We did not take this decision lightly. Please hire these people if you can. They're amazing.
Yeah. I mean, a certain amount is like making a bad bet that the Expanse game would be probably bigger than it actually is. Although that's Telltale, right? So
that's Telltale. That's Skin.
They were contracted by Telltale.
Skin sheet Telltale.
Yeah.
No, their last game was Life is Strange Beyond Colors.
But it says the Expanse in this press article, so I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, they did the Expanse. Sorry, the Telltale one.
Yeah, but I'm sure they were contracted by Telltale. So it wouldn't have mattered how successful that game is. They probably only got paid whatever they were meant to get paid.
I mean, I just don't like, because like none of those, like that game didn't bomb from all accounts. It just did fine.
No.
And I think it
didn't catch the success of the first one.
Yeah, but if a studio has to lay off that like 20% of its workforce, if a game doesn't do massive success, I just think that's a horrible place for the industry to be in, obviously. Like if everything you make has to sell like bananas to be worthwhile, then it's like, well, how is the video game industry sustainable?
I don't know, Dylan. Is it worse to have to fire that 20%, or is it worse to not have hired that 20% to start with?
You are fucking terrible.
No, I'm just asking. It's a hard-hitting question, Dylan.
What was the question again? Is it worse to have
to fire the 20% or never have hired the 20% to start with?
Well, it's worse to have never hired them.
Exactly. So, I mean, yeah, they got paid for their work,
You take such a like...
You try and find like...
It's interesting because this is the argument we used at certain other things, So, I mean, it just depends on the situation, When people don't want you to play the game, they're like, oh, the devs already got paid for their work. Don't buy it. they've already been paid for their work. It's unfortunate they just can't continue to be paid for what they were working on.
Yeah, these people weren't making fucking game supporting transphobes. Like, let's, it's a bit different. Sony's laying off around 900 PlayStation employees and shutting down at least one studio.
I mean, I feel this is the worst one because I feel like everybody else announced their news in the wake of this because fuck, Sony's going to get all the heat and we're going to be fine. We'll just, because it felt like that Sony news dropped. I want to say, when did we record, Platt?
Probably like
Tuesday.
It was the morning.
So it was
after,
Wednesday morning. Or Wednesday. No, it was Wednesday midnight because I remember seeing it after the Pokemon Direct we'll talk about. So, and then it feels like everybody else announced their layoffs at the same time, just to tailwind off the back of the PlayStation stuff. Super disappointing, especially studios like Insomniac, which is just released massive hit in Spider-Man, having to release people. Naughty Dog having to release people. Well, I guess the Naughty Dog,
Insomniac, and Guerrilla all had to release people.
Naughty Dog, I guess, makes sense because they, the online game got cancelled. So, I'm sure there were people brought on for that project that just are kind of redundant. Like, people focus on the multiplayer aspects that if they're not continuing to do multiplayer games is kind of, redundant to have. It's disappointing to see London Studio, which obviously has a long lineage, which also doesn't bode well for the future of PlayStation VR, seeing as that was kind of what they were exclusively working on the last decade or so. So, yeah, I mean, very disappointing.
His email said,
fucking Jim Ryan, one of his last things he wants to do is let go of 900 people across the company. And I'm sure he's getting a big, fat, for stupid retirement bonus.
He will.
And this, what was it? The most sickening thing was he was at London Studios 5 days before.
Oh, yeah. And took a picture of them and they tagged him and said,
it's congrats on your retirement.
Congrats on your retirement, Jim. And then a week later,
he's like, fuck, I did not like the cake that you brought.
Every single one of you cunts.
I did not like the cake that you got me. The banner was not straight. Fuck is all.
Fuck is all. Now, none of this surprises me because I never liked Jim Ryan. So I'm looking forward to him leaving. But,
But again, the number of layoffs was really indicative of the space that the industry is currently in, more than shitty CEOs and everything. You know what I mean?
No, the problem's bigger. The current problem's bigger than the shitty CEOs. But I'll still take any chance I can to say that Jim is a shitty CEO.
Yeah.
I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like maybe the video industry is going to die.
No, I don't think
it dies. I just think it needs to continue. I have no idea when it levels out, though.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, that's response we've seen from a lot of people is that game devs need to unionize. I'm sure that will help to a certain extent, to try and mitigate layoffs. I'm sure in that regard, but I think it's just going to be a scale thing. We're just not going to be able to see the scale of games that we've been seeing consistently over the last decade. Things need to be done smaller, or you just need to accept that you can't have 120 frames per second in every single game. There's extra resources that don't need to be put in there.
Get out of here, frames being the issue. No, I think that the gaming community, though, as a whole, needs to shift away from this idea that more hours of content equals quality and value for money. We need to stop having the biggest reaction to when games can raise this to be, oh, this game's only 20 hours? That's not worth my $90. That's not worth my $100.
Yes. I agree, Kieran. Consumers are the problem.
Well, no, it's not.
I mean, it's true.
It's a big part of it is, and if people ask, okay, how do we as gamers and how do we as a community support these studios and stop them from closing? Well, the answer is easy. Go buy their game. Like, go buy their game when it comes out. Don't wait for it to be on sale.
Don't bitch and moan if there's a piece of DLC in there that you don't have to buy. If there are microtransactions that you don't have to buy, don't complain that they're in there. You know,
like
those things keep these studios alive. You know?
I feel like it's two parts for me. And again, this is like very pundit level discussion of this because we don't make video games. But
no,
I feel like half of it is people not wanting, or no, it's most people want and only now want to buy the massive blockbusters and stuff like it. Like basically everyone I work with, I don't work with anyone that like cares about indie games and stuff like that, right? Where to me that's the future of industry, stuff that can be sustainably made in like a 12-month cycle, put out, you know, like your Cult of Lambs or whatever. Like that's a successful, sustainable industry, like turnaround stuff. They just want to play the massive, you know, Spider-Mans and stuff like that, which is all those games to me are highly unsustainable, especially when every developer is trying to attain that level of success and make those types of video games. It just doesn't work. I think the other problem, especially based on watching the more and more video game documentaries we get, either the ones that companies like Sony put out themselves or that stuff like NoClip and I'm trying to remember the YouTube channel I watch, but people make games and stuff like that. I think another big thing that stands out to me comparing the games industry to other media industries is as the industries continued and got bigger and bigger and bigger, no one has ever solved the production or the producer side of the video game industry to the point that it's just like everyone sits down and they start fucking around with shit. And then next second, they've spent 2 years like trying to make a game and then nothing's happened because they spent so long and now it's broken and they can't work it. And you know what I mean? Like if you want to compare that to a movie or TV industry, it's like, all right, so we're going to spend, it's a 8-week shoot. We got 20 million for this. We got 30 million for the marketing. You know, we got like, it's a lot more planned out. And like, and if you go overtime, you know, like if you've planned for 8 weeks and you're shooting on 9 weeks, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you've now like way over budget. Like this is not good. The producers are terrible on this movie, you know? So the video game industry and a lot of these documentaries, people talk about how it's so much harder to plan because it's the way games are made is a lot different. And, you know, especially when people are trying to work out new mechanics and like a lot of that stuff takes time. And like, yes, I get that. But I feel like as the video game industry's got older and older and older, no one's ever really figured out a way to do a pipeline better to get that stuff down. And I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with the bigger companies is they just spend so long doing just sort of with hundreds of people in the office just fucking around trying to get the little stuff right. That like, yeah, I feel like it's almost just a planning / producing side of things.
I mean, I won't say every single studio doesn't know how to get the production side down. I mean, there are a handful. I would say Insomniac is one of the studios that, you know,
I'm sure
was able to get consistent.
Like, it is a constant problem within the industry.
And then just all the sports annual ones, you know.
Yeah. I'm sure that So there are good.
But even then, everybody complains every year about FIFA games, at least the last couple of years, not feeling like there's much of a change between the games.
Yeah, because it's not. That's how you keep getting these games out, you know.
But that's the thing. We need to, like, you know what? Even though I have other thoughts about it, I'm really glad that Pokemon is taking longer between games, and I hope they continue to take longer between games and give themselves more time to develop more of a game. Like, I actually think as a community, we need to be more okay with less games coming out every year. And having things slow down to a point where like developers aren't feeling the need to be rushing to get shit out.
But I think we've actually been there. Like we are getting kind of less AAA games. You know, it's just they're still taking 5 years in between. You know, which isn't a sustainable.
I feel like the industry would be more sustainable in that world where it's like, imagine a world where like so. because obviously a lot of people are contractors and whatever else, which sort of makes sense within the industry for programmers who could jump between studios every couple of years and, not stay at one. But that makes sense. I have nothing against that if that's, as long as their contract's fulfilled and, whatever. That's my thing.
As long as they're paid.
As long as they're paid. But I feel like the only way that works is like you have someone sign on and they go work on the Spider-Man game for 5 years or whatever, and AAA games and stuff like that, and people buy them. But then for these people to continue to be able to work, it's like, well, they jump off. Maybe they then go work on an indie game afterwards between stuff. But again, that's where the consumers aren't supporting it. So that's like, well, that was an unsuccessful project. I'm only ever successful when I'm in a AAA game, but then there's only like 3 AAA studios I can work at. Like that's where you get into trouble. I feel like there's just the amount of people in the industry who want to work compared to the amount that success that can be found.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about a little bit of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, let's talk about games that take several years and a massive and
I mean, I gotta say, I'm surprised how fast they turned this around, considering the joke was always
considering it'll
take them like 20 years.
A decade?
It took 2 console generations to get the first part.
And then they put this one out in 3 years or something like that. So yeah, 3-4 years, whatever it was. So
yeah.
Has everyone started it?
Yes.
Okay. Kieran, hit me with your impressions of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yes, correct.
Yes,
good job. I am 8 hours into it. I'm really enjoying my time with the game so far, but I definitely have caveats of how I feel about the game at the moment. I think the game is absolutely stunning and has some of the best music I've listened to in a game, but on the other flip side of the music comment, I think this is the first time in a game I have felt like the audio mixing is fucking horrible. Like the default audio mixing is really bad to the point where you can't hear character dialogue because music in cutscenes is too loud.
I've had no trouble. Like, so you have a soundbar, don't you?
Yes, I do. Yep.
Okay. Because I've had no trouble with my setup. So
I've had it's been like, especially like some there's a moment early-ish in the game where you meet a bunch of bandits while you're on doing a side quest, and their theme slaps real good. Like it's a really good theme, but
the ones who steal the
Beck's bandits.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't hear the dialogue because their theme music was too loud. So I actually had to turn the music down to like 7 or something on the in-game audio settings, which seems to be a lot better. The only other, like, not criticism, but like thing I have about this game so far is because of how the game... I have felt so lost in this game at the start. I felt stupidly lost during the Zach LaFair opening section because I'm like... There's so much fucking going on here, which I think is intended, right? Like, I think that's intended.
You're not
to feel
supposed
like
to have any clue.
You're not supposed to have any understanding what's going on. But then, with the Cloud storyline, absolutely, I loved and adored the first chapter. I thought that was like amazing. Like, it was a really cool way to enter into the game. But then beyond that, since we're into like the present day stuff, I'm kind of like, what are we actually doing? Like, what is the point of any of the actions the main characters are doing in them?
For us.
But like, I'd feel like that hasn't been
established
or properly set up spoken about at all. Like it's very much like you're starting calm, and then you kind of you get going from there, and it's like I don't see like there's not the through plot other than the game is telling me to go in this direction for the story at the moment. And I feel like this game relies on the fact that it's a part 2 a little bit too much so far to try and like almost expecting people to have recently played all of Final Fantasy VII Remake to immediately jump into this game. Like it feels like...
Pin on that for a sec. Did you find a good recap video, Ash? I saw you tweet.
I went to the GameSpot. They had a pretty solid one, kind of explaining everything.
Yeah.
Even stuff that I don't know if I realized at the time.
Okay. unpin. Back to you, Kieran.
No, that's okay. I watched a recap, but then I also watched a recap of Yuffie's stuff because I didn't get a chance to play through her DLC mission or anything, missions or story. I think the gameplay itself has been great. I'm very much in the heavy realm of I want to do everything on the map and I want to clear everything and I want to do all the side missions and stuff, which I need to
finish this game.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like I need to not do that so I finish this game and actually get to a point.
But towers, Karen. Towers,
I know, right? As soon as I saw towers, I was like, fuck my life, you're joking me.
You're in trouble if that's how you're going because so you're in the first area, right?
Sort of. I've pushed through since I've started to push through and mainline the main story. I've only just got to chapter 2.
Yeah, so like the open world section, you know how when you complete a like side objective and it comes up with that little thing that like
yes,
so it does a thing and it has like say 20 or 30.
Yeah, that's only for that like area.
Yeah, and the game has like several.
Yes, no, I'm 100% aware that like how big this game is and I need to just play the story a little bit more. But that's my problem, right? Is that I feel like I'm getting more reason and more through point stories in playing side quests and doing stuff there than I am in the actual main story of the game. I think I'm getting to a better point now. Like I've just beaten probably I would say the first major boss. I've just beaten that boss fight. I think there is a lot going on at once. I really wish they hadn't given me all the party members, or at least the original party members, all at once, because I'm like very much trying to figure out what party dynamic I like, who I like in my party. I've recently made a rule that I will not play in a party without Aerith in it, because I need Aerith, because she is like my default healer and spellcaster.
You need either Aerith or Barret, and then pick your choice after that, because they're the only two that can do ranged enemies.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I'm like, fuck. In the first one, having only played at least this first portion of the remake recently, it throws items at you like it's going out of fashion. Now, because of the item crafting system, it doesn't do that anymore. Mm-hmm. So like I went into this boss fight, didn't have Aerith with me, and
it's only the serpent thing, right?
Yeah, the serpent thing. Yeah. Didn't have Aerith with me, and then when I opened, I only had like a very small handful of like 1 or 2 health like normal potions, 1 high potion, and bits and pieces of other stuff. And I was like, oh fuck, okay. I feel like there is a lot of mechanics all going at once. I can beat
you on this, ready for this. So I go into a certain fight. Didn't know it was happening because you're going through the river. Yes. And it just happened, right? And they get my ass handed to me, and I'm like, yeah, I wasn't really ready for this anyway. So, and it says the first option is reload fight. I'm like, I don't want to do the fight again. So I click reload checkpoint or something.
Checkpoint,
yeah. Yeah, it takes me back about 45 minutes.
And so just so you know, if you pressed reload fight, it would have just taken you to outside.
I've learnt that since.
Yep.
That's great to know. I lost nearly an hour's worth of gameplay because I decided to click reload last checkpoint.
But I do also get the criticism of the game that there is like everything feels like a mini game. Everything feels like a mini game. Every objective you do is just a different style of mini game you get to outside of the normal fighting and everything, which isn't a bad thing. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm just wondering how that's going to feel when I get to the next map and I start doing things on the next map. I feel like once I put in another 5-6 hours, I will feel a lot more comfortable. But at the minute, I feel like also like stuff like leveling up. I feel very weird about leveling up because I don't feel like characters are actually making progression, or maybe I should have read better about the upgrade weapon system. Is that the same thing as like is upgrading the weapon? Is that what you're doing anyway with normal SP in like the folio pages and stuff?
No, that's separate to the folio stuff.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. But then also the highlight of the game, which should be no surprise to anybody, is Queen's Blood. Queen's Blood is so much fun and very addictive, and very enjoyable whenever I run into somebody to play at the moment.
Ash, how's your Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, I'm only 5 hours in. I'm much further back than you guys, you know. I just got past the Chocobo Ranch. So, yeah, I mean, it's very pretty, very detailed. The world is like crazy, like looks crazy good. It's very in depth. Like you go through that inn and like the first time is like, wow, like there's a whole bunch of stuff here. I think Kieran's accurate. It's like it feels like we're picking straight up. You want to figure out how to play this game? Read this stack of text because that's the only way you're going to figure out exactly what's happening. We're not going to explain everything. You know, you've got pretty much all the abilities that you had start of the game. You don't have the exact armor or anything, but you do like you're not starting level 1. So I mean, that's something.
Level
It's a
15?
weird number of like 14 or something.
I started like
14,
14 or
16.
15. Yeah.
Did you import your saves, by the way?
Yes, and the only thing that
But I don't
does
think
is-
it just reads if you have a save.
no, but it gives you an item or something.
Yeah, it gives you some
Yeah.
material. I think.
Depending on
Yeah.
what you've played and what you've done, you get an item out of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all cool. I'm enjoying the story. The opening few moments of this game is a complete mindfuck, and I don't know where that is going.
Yeah. So just because I'm the furthest out of all of us, because
Yes.
I've decided to use my weekend for what it should be for, and I've just played nothing but fun.
Let's go.
Um,
How many hours you play? How many hours?
Yeah, Dylan playing AAA game.
AAA game. Let's fucking
I don't know
go.
how many hours, but I'm up to chapter 8.
Holy fuck.
You know?
Holy shit.
So, but also I'm not racing. Like as I said, I knew what side quest. Like I've done side quests, but I'm also not really.
You're main gaming,
I-
mainstream.
Like here's the objective, right? What little icons are on the way?
Oh,
I
you'll
stop
grab
and
stuff on
do.
the way, but you won't
I
go out of your
zigzag
way.
on the way, but I ain't going down here.
You didn't like. I'm gonna get rid of all this cloud.
Oh, I've been getting rid of clouds in the first area. Very
Like,
much.
what if?
So
what if
I
there's
get
some herbs
to
over
the
here?
Town, I do all the I do all the Queen's Blood stuff. You know, like I beat everyone. Like I'm not like racing, but at the same time, I'm not clearing the map. Right? I'm doing a nice mid balanced gameplay here. So just so you know, that clouds, the Zack stuff. Not to spoil too much, but they
It's addressed
do
out quickly.
No, it's not addressed. They just like you'll come back to that stuff, and it continues just to make no sense.
I just imagine it's an alternate timeline or something. Like it's just.
I mean, that's
yeah.
the only explanation, right?
The whole time I still have no idea, and I think I've
Or we're playing through a dream.
that will be the
That's
craziest ending. Well, I know everyone. Apparently, people hate the endings of the game, so maybe who knows. Yeah, I don't because I haven't I didn't struggle so much with the combat. I don't know, maybe it's just because I find the combat's like pretty easy to pick up. And I haven't played the
Important
game
question
since,
is: are people playing on the active mode or the classic mode?
Active.
what's
Active's the default.
difference?
Classic
Whatever
is like
default.
actual turn based, right?
No, classic is like remakes combat, where I felt like
I feel
active.
like active is remakes combat from what I remember of it.
So I don't know. I can't understand the difference, but so I've just gone with whatever the game wants you to play on, which is
is active
you-
because I've been playing on classic because active I thought
if
the
you
way
press
it
X,
read-
it pauses the game.
Yeah, so maybe that.
oh okay mine doesn't pause the game if I press X. It goes real slow.
It goes well,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't pause it. It goes like super fucking slow that it might as well.
Yeah,
be
that's in
paused.
classic. Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
that in the classic.
So I'm
mode.
playing that. That's what I'm on. You know. So you're doing a fight. You press L2, R2. It like really slows down time. You can tell Tifa to do this move. You can tell fucking Red to do this move. Then you undo it. But at the same time, if you press L1, it brings up that quick menu, and that doesn't pause time. That's just live, right? Yeah, I found the combat pretty easy to jump straight into. I thought it was pretty straightforward, I guess. And I haven't played I never even played the DLC. Me and Ash kept joking on Platinum that
No.
we should jump into
I
it at some point.
installed it. I said I'm going to play
Yeah.
it this weekend before we're going to, and then life got in the way.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen.
So like when Yuffie shows up, I was like, man, is it going to be really confusing because I didn't play that DLC? Nah, it's fine, whatever.
Okay, good.
Doesn't really matter. I don't think it makes any fucking difference. A little bit
No,
makes
so
sense.
like from what I watched of Yuffie's DLC, it doesn't. Really, all it does is be like Yuffie.
She was in that city.
She was in the area at the same time Cloud was.
The first time she like sees Barrett and stuff, and they have like a little flashback to her seeing those characters and stuff. I'm like, I assume that's from the DLC. It doesn't really matter. doesn't bother me. So, yeah, I don't really like. I'm enjoying playing this game less like the way it's been designed, which is the Ubisophication of it, including towers and all that sort of shit. Not really what I want out of my Final Fantasy remake, if I'm going to be completely honest. I mean, exploring the world, running around on the chocobos, I think is cool. Like I like riding around the chocobos, getting their little cute little armors. Each different open world
Is the armor
section.
worth getting?
Well, yeah, each open world has its own different armor. So, including by the time you get to Costa del Sol, you can have chocobos in like beachwear armor. So, there's some fun. There's some fun stuff.
And getting the armor isn't hard because all you have to do is like fix the chocobo posts when you go past them and stuff like that.
Yeah, each time you follow one of those little baby chocobos, they take you to the thing. You fix the little sign. They give you one nut or whatever they are, and you can use those. So it's not hard to get. But yeah, the open, like some of the stuff I think's cool. Like I think now the open world stuff. I like going to the Marco crystals. I think like they seem
that's real cool. Like
the
I really
music
like
kicks in and like seems all they're little nice things, but otherwise
my favorite piece of music actually in the whole game is that kind of the piano piece that they play there.
Piece. Like that kicking in when you approach those and like seeing you have like a lot of rare materials always around them. Like that sort of stuff I think's cool. Otherwise, I think most of the open world stuff I'm like I don't really give a fuck about any of this.
I do wish they'd spent more time, at least early in this part, developing Red 13 a little bit more, because I feel like he barely gets any development in the end of Remake. And so far at the start of this, he's kind of treated like equivalent to how Aerith and Barrett and Tifa. But I'm like, Red, I can't remember much of your story at all. Like,
I went through shared trauma here and they're best friends.
I'm going to tell you right now, he gets way more backstory in this than he ever did in the original game.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Because in the original game, it was like, I don't think he got fuck all. Like, most of the characters, and not to spoil too much, because neither of you, like, I know Ash hasn't, you haven't played the original either, have you? Like, the original PS1 game, Karen? Or?
Yeah, I played the original. Yeah.
Okay. Most of the characters have like at least one section in the game where you go to like maybe their hometown or like somewhere where you'll like get a whole little back. It's like like watching an anime and it's like a little episode set in their hometown where you get to learn a lot about them. But it's like Red 13, nothing. It's just like he's a dude, whatever. But it's also funny to think about in the original game. A lot of the characters like Tifa, not Tifa, fucking Yuffie, Vincent, Cat Sith. I think they're the three. They're like
God, I'm so excited to meet Vincent.
Yeah, well, only because it's voiced by
No, I love Vincent before. No, I've always loved Vincent. Like even before he's been voiced by Matt Mercer. I think he is like the height of awesome edginess.
All those characters are optional in the original game, so it's funny like how they're brought in to be like just part of the main. Like you don't really have a choice now. You got to meet all these characters. Yeah, I am enjoying the game a lot more playing it the way I'm playing it, is how I would put it. And if I was to say, yeah, like, but the thing is, that's why straight away, also I'm playing it this way because I asked Kieran if he would want to review it and he said yes. So that did change the way I was playing the game. If I was the one, if you'd said no, I can't be, yeah, if you'd said no, I can't be fucked and Ash wasn't doing it and I was the one who was like, all right, I'll write the review, I would be spending more time doing a little bit more of the side content stuff so I could experience a bit more of that.
Yeah.
But because I'm like, I'm just going to play the game, I want to play the game, which is this way. Yeah, because a lot of that side stuff I just think is just filler to expand upon the game in a way that I don't particularly find fun. Queen's Gambit, I definitely feel like they would be dumb not to
spin it off.
Give it the full Gwen fucking...
Yeah, or something. I mean, like everyone loves it.
If it doesn't become a standalone app on your phone.
Yeah. I'd be like...
It's so simple,
It is very simple.
I'm excited to see how the game gets more complex because I've worked out, at least for me, that just getting bored territory just wins you the game.
Pretty much, yeah.
Like if you can just race to getting
I mean,
over towards
as far forward as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I think probably other cards that like give you spots further up would probably, you know.
You don't have any, considering where you are in the game, you don't have any, a lot, or if any of the ones that like do extra abilities, do you? Like a lot.
I've got
Only
like,
limited,
so I've
yeah.
just picked up some that like remove cards from the other side and stuff like that. And
So like imagine you get like you get the bomb card, for example, and it's like if that's destroyed, it like kills all the cards around it. And shit
right,
like that.
okay.
So there's a cool card, a Chocobo card that if you win the lane it's in, if you win the lane that's in, you get +3 points. So you can sort of do sneaky wins by just winning like one lane or something like that.
Okay.
There's other ones like fucking gods or fucking summons, I mean, that's like have like it just like negatives everything around them. There's a Moogle card that like you drop it and it places 2 more Moogles in your hand that have different abilities as well, like turns into more cards. So like it definitely does get more complicated complex as it goes, but it's still like the core principles of the game. I think the reason everyone's liking it on the internet is just because it is just 3 lanes and it's like just you get a score and you win. Really, it's not too much different to
It's not much different to Gwent, like in
Gwent, or even I was trying to think of the Colton Lamb one that I even brought. They did the board game when I brought that, the bone one. It's simplistic.
Knuckle Bones
again,
or something?
it's Knuckle and Bones. It's just like it's 3 lanes and you just got to win the lanes, right? It's just you just got to get the high score at the end of the day. So
yeah,
you know. What else was I going to say?
Also, super something I just thought about. What you think?
Yeah.
I wish they just made movement feel a little smoother. It feels.
Man, I tell you, when during that when the village is burning and Cloud is crawling, it's like this is taking forever. No wonder this game's so long. Just move a bit faster. Even when they're crawling around the rooftops or like trying to sneak across over the roof, I'm like, just move a little quicker.
Like even just moments of it, like jumping, if you want to jump up a surface or you need to jump across something or whatever, it feels like the process goes split second, load into jump animation, jump, split second, go back into normal. And I'm like,
there's something special about just holding the run button into walls and at different angles to find out if the character wants to jump up it though.
Yeah, no, there is when you're like, oh, I need to get up here. I could walk all the way around, or I could find where the geometry is a little bit more scalable, and also see if my NPCs jump up in a certain spot, because then I will. Also, I do love that. Even the people that you're not in your party travel around with you in the open world. And if you look around at them, even though it's kind of stupid,
disappear and
they don't disappear. They just kind of run around the outside, and you kind of like, well, if you're going to be stood there, help me at least, you fucks.
No. So when you're doing battles, sometimes you look in the background. It's like you'll see one of them like cast a fucking piss weak spell, and they're like, "I'm helping." like, okay, I'm glad she's like attempted to program in. Like this is actually doing something, I guess. I was gonna say I really like. I actually really like the way the game so far with the pacing, especially. Well, again, this may just be because the way I'm playing it, not getting too bogged down, but it does a pretty good job at like if you're like, oh man, should I be like trading around, especially once you like get Yuffie and stuff and you get a few more, you're like, man, should I be like rotating through my people here? But the game will do parts where it's like, well, now you're like these 3 characters, like we're going over here to do this thing, or you get separated and then you got like a select party, or even times where it's like, well, you're not playing as, in fact, Cloud and whatever are going over this way. Now you're playing as Barrett with someone and someone else. Like you'll get separated even from Cloud and stuff. The game does a pretty good job at like jumping around between characters and stuff like that. And I do like, as much as I don't like the open world stuff with all the filler shit in there, I do think that at least the way the game's set up with this whole, like, because it's still got chapters similar to the first one or remake, where it's like open world section, go to a thing, you go into like a more like linear like area or chapter, and you play through that, and then you sort of come out the other side of that town or whatever, and it's like, here's the next open world section, and then you go through the next little linear section. It's like, here's the next open world section. That's sort of how the game plays out. I think that's pretty good way to do it. I think it'll warn you too every time you go to do something. It's like, you sure you want to start this mission? You won't be able to like fast travel for a while, and you go to play out the next like major story sequence or whatever. Any other thoughts before we move on?
It's a good game. It's great.
It's very pretty. Lots of menus.
Lots of menus indeed.
And some things that just don't make sense. Like you would think you would.
Why can't the materia and the weapon thing be in the same menu?
What?
Why can't I just go in there and then upgrade my weapon or change the skill or whatever? There's just a few things like that like could have been a little bit more streamlined.
When I need to change the members of my parties in each of the party makeups, I'd go to the party menu.
Menu, yes.
Not the combat settings menu, hey? Fuck me.
I'm still early days, but do the two people not in the party actually, it says they're in the back line.
Yeah.
Are they doing anything?
That's what I'm saying. You see them like cast spells and like hit enemies. Like, I don't know if they're actually helping or they're just like animated to.
It just looks like
helping. Yeah, that's the only.
So I see the bullets from Barrett. And like,
you'll
when
see
he's out of the party.
Yeah, so he's it.
So then Tifa's just there like, oh, fists.
All right, let's talk about the Pokemon Direct, whatever it was called. Pokemon Presents 2024, sorry.
Do you mean the biggest cock tease of 2024?
Whoa. I know what
wow.
But we can get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
I'm going to run down from top to bottom. I assume most of the stuff people that will care about should be the last story or two stories even. But quickly, so Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Terra Raid battles are getting Mighty Venusaur, Mighty Blastoise, Mighty Charizard if you want to get some shiny friends.
Finally.
Those games. Pokemon Go is getting a Pokemon Horizons crossover event. It is on from now until March.
Finally. Side note, I don't know, do we talk about this here or elsewhere? Pokemon Horizons being on
no, so I mentioned
I
mentioned on What Do You Want to Watch when we was recording.
Yeah.
So here, I know what you're about to say, and let me put it this way. So we're recording What Do You Want to Watch? I say I'm really looking forward to watching Pokemon Horizons. It's on right now. I checked. It's airing, right? And I thought after that I'd be able to go to their app and watch it on the catch-up service. It apparently is not on their catch-up service. They're just airing it at 10 a.m. or whatever. And if you miss it, because you're a kid and you're at
because
school,
we're living in 2001.
Yeah, they're like, nah, fuck you, too bad. So I sent them a stern email the other day, and I'm waiting for a response.
Sorry. I need a question, right? When you say you sent them a stern email, did you send it as Dylan Blight consumer or Dylan Blight or anonymous, or did you send it as Dylan Blight editor of Explosion Network?
I sent it as
are we getting blacklisted?
Worried consumer who just wants to watch some Pokemon.
Okay.
Right? So yes, that is
who wants to give your app views rather than
I want to watch your fucking app and you can put the ads on 3 times throughout the episode. Just let me watch the new fucking Pokemon show. Jesus Christ. Like fucking hell. Anyway,
yeah, okay.
I knew exactly what you was going to say the second you said that.
Yeah.
Pokemon Sleep is got Raikou, Entei, and Suicune coming to the game now. So sleep.
You still doing the Pokemon Sleep?
No, I told you I rage quit because the fucking game wiped my data. And I haven't gone back to it ever since. I went over that. I've not touched it since. I'm a man of my word. Pokemon Masters EX is doing the 4.5 year milestone. Is that a thing, Ash? 4.5 year anniversary?
4.5.
That's what they're doing. They're doing a 4.5 year.
Unless they celebrate, they're like, it's been 6 months. Here's an update.
No.
I don't think you can go, it's been 4.5 years. Let's celebrate.
No, the word is 4.5 year milestone. That's what they said.
Well, that's the words that you used.
No, that's what it says in the trailer. Go back and watch it.
I mean, it can be a milestone, but it can't be an anniversary.
I feel like they're treating it like it's an anniversary.
Well,
Pokemon Cafe remix, that game, is getting Koraidon and Miraidon, and you can get Gimme Gold
What Pokemon are they?
They're the fucking main legendaries on the cover of the last two.
Okay.
The bicycles, Ash.
They're the bicycle Pokemon.
They're the bicycle Pokemon, and Gimmighoul is the coin Pokemon who, if you collect 999 in the game, turns into a stacked coin Pokemon. Pokemon Unite is getting Miraidon from now. You can unlock them for free.
Sucks to be Corridon.
Yeah, I know, right? Phalanx is coming to the game in April, and Ceruledge is coming soon, apparently. All right, so on to the big stuff. Pokemon trading card game Pocket was announced. So this is a new mobile version of the Pokemon TCG that will be coming to devices in 2024. The game will let you open 2 packs for free per day. It'll have immersive new art modes where, as they show in the trailer, it's sort of like sweeps through this Pikachu card art. It's like more detail, like 3D animation and stuff like that. And then it's going to have a new mode. This is the part they didn't give too much detail in, but the Quick Battles is a redesigned version of the rules of Pokemon TCG for a quicker on-the-go experience, is what they explained that as. This all sounds like, if it is as good as I hope it could be, I'm going to sink a lot of time into this as soon as it comes out, is what I would say to this. Yeah.
I mean, odds are you're just going to open it like every day, so you can open 2 packs at the bare minimum. The feeling of opening 2 packs is enough.
And if they get the mechanics down to make, because I was trying to think how they do this. I'm like, okay, so like if you want to go for, how long is a long snap match? 5 minutes, maybe?
What, like a single one?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes. I feel like each round is at most 45 seconds.
Yeah. So like, how do you, I feel like they're chasing that, right? They're chasing that, like what would you consider the max minute time to play of Pokemon TCG they could do? Like maybe a couple minutes per.
Ideally, max 5 minutes.
Yeah, max 5 minutes. I feel like that's where I'd be at to. So like straight away, I'm like, well, how would they go about this? And I'm like, okay, so in the actual core game, you've got to take 6 of your opponents.
Pokemon out. You just reduce that number.
No. Like you put 6. So I'll quickly go over this, right? Just for a thought experiment. Shuffle your deck, right? Take 6 cards off the top, face down. They're prize cards. You lose when your opponent takes those. If you take your 6 opponents face down prize cards, right? So halve that straight away, 3.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, do you like redesign some of the cards so like the casting costs, or like like ability costs a little bit less? Do you not even have the need to use energy cards? I don't know. There's lots of. I feel like opening 2 packs a day, that's gonna get me a little bit of excitement. But longevity, I need the battling stuff to be fun. I want the battling stuff to be fun. I don't want it to just be opening 2 packs a day for free. They're gonna go so far.
I mean, I tell you what, it'll be easier to stream you opening a couple of packs on this game rather than to have to get them in real life.
What are you talking about? I got
easier storage.
I got a whole 6 packs sitting right here. What are you talking about? Wait,
yeah,
7 packs.
Oh my god.
Because I had to go in the other day to get the promo card for Pokemon Day.
Yeah. What was it?
Wait, did you go in for the Pokemon Day and then leave with spending money on more packs as well?
Well, no, because you had to spend. I think you had to spend $30 or whatever.
Oh my god! Okay, right.
To get the promo or something like that. Yeah, it's not free. I did get the free EB World card though that you could get on the day.
The Charizard one.
The Charizard.
Ooh, look at him showing off his,
in the time I was in there, I saw 3 people in the time I was at the front counter talking to the dude there, get my packs and stuff. 3 people just literally walk in, assume on their lunch break, and just go, "Hey, do you have those cards left? Yep, cool. Do you want to buy anything? No." And off they went. So I don't know. Ask your local store if they've got any of those left. Maybe. Yeah, Pokemon. So, based on your face as I was reading over this news story, Kieran, you think this is dumb? This game?
No, I think it's the same as. Thing is, right? You can't actually play Pokemon TCG on this app, can you? Like, it's that's what we're saying.
It's going to be a reworked version.
You are going to play the Pokemon TCG app, but they say they're doing a redesign of the rules, which is I'm trying to work out. They didn't explain what the redesign of the rules are.
Okay.
To make it,
I don't know. I think it is. It's my opinion of this whole show. Of this whole Pokemon show is like, there was nothing of great substance on this show, but just a bunch of different little ways of Game Freak / the Pokemon Company monetizing Pokemon for the year.
They got it, right?
They do. No,
that's why there's no layoffs.
No. They have to, right? But at the same time, I'm like, the reason I call this show a cock tease and the thing that I was actually like sad about by the end of this show was because they spend all of this show showing Johto characters and Johto Pokemon throughout the entire thing. They use them multiple times throughout the entire thing, making you almost making you think, if you picked up on it, making you think that it was leading to a remake.
The Let's Go thing that we're all
the Let's Go, or like a remake of Gold and Silver, like wherever we were going to. Not Gold and Silver, it's the ones after it, isn't it? Like it's a remake, and then you get to the end of it and there's no remake, and you're like, why the fuck did you plaster Johto characters through over the entire thing and not have anything that capitalized off it?
Did they?
Yes.
I mean, they had unknowns.
Unknowns is in it.
I don't know if that was like some sort of messaging.
The dogs consistently popping up, like Entei and Thingamy popping up all the time. I think every single trailer they showed, except for maybe the TCG one, was heavily featured Johto characters.
I never thought about that at all.
No.
Well, I did, okay?
Yeah, I think you're reading too much into it.
Reading way too hard into it. So, anyway, Pokemon Trading Card Game looks good.
Yeah, it looks good. It's going to be a massive moneymaker.
Yeah, I reckon it will be. I'm keen. All right, and then they ended the show on Pokemon Legends ZA. I don't know how we're saying it. But ZA. So this is a new entry in the Legends series. So Pokemon Legends 2, basically. But the game will take place in Luminos City, which is from Pokemon X and Y, which is why it's called Z and A, I guess. I don't know. The trailer teased this game. Zar. The Pokemon trailer teaser could be in the future, not in the past. This would see the return of Mega Evolutions, which is a.
I've seen people more excited about Mega Evolutions coming back than actually the game.
There's two types of people. People either hate Mega Evolutions or love Mega Evolutions. No one's in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
Is Mega Evolutions like the Dark Charizard one?
Yeah.
Like where, okay.
No, there's Charizard is two.
Isn't Mega Evolutions where they just get really big?
No, that's
no. Really big is fucking.
That's from the last one. That's
Ultra Maximo something. I can't.
Yeah,
remember.
Maximo, whatever it's called.
Is Ultra Evolutions the one where you need a separate device to like shake and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There's like Charizard. There's two Charizards. There's like Charizard Y and Charizard.
Gigantamax. That's it. Gigantamax.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gigantamax.
Yeah. Get them big boys.
Great property. Great idea.
I'm keen for this. I really, really liked Legends Arceus. I really enjoyed what that brought to the Pokemon game, I guess. You know, that introduced more of the open world aspect before we even got into the next Pokemon games. I'm going to be really interested to see how this one works, though, because the setup for that game was, okay, well, this is before Pokedexes and you're sort of making the Pokedex, you know, like you're the person going around looking into Pokemon, investigating them for the first time. You're sort of crafting this Pokedex. There's not really trainer battles. There's you battle of a Pokemon, but you're not doing trainer battles. This one, if it's set in the future, or at least seems like it is, or at least modern time, because you got a Pikachu running around a modern city and whatever else. So okay, so is this just more like a typical Pokemon game? Is this back to like you've actually got trainer battles? Like what is I'm now wondering, going to the second game, like what is the Pokemon company's pitch as to like what is a Pokemon Legends game? What does it mean to be a Pokemon Legends game? Like what is that?
Is it just not basic Pokemon? Or is
I don't know. Like, because that's
I immediately laughed when it first showed the designs and stuff. I don't know why I got very vibes of almost like Da Vinci drawings and like Renaissance Italy again. And I almost laugh because I'm like, is Legends just a copy of Assassin's Creed but Pokemon, and now they're going to the Renaissance or what? And then it obviously revealed it was the city from X and Y. I guess they're looking to bounce around and do whatever they want and like kind of use the Legends as like a way just to go wherever they want within the franchise.
Yeah. And I mean, the other big question is this game going to release on Nintendo Switch 2?
Well, it's 2025,
Probably.
right?
2025, yeah.
It's 2025. So, all the reports we're hearing are saying Switch 2 is coming out March 2025. So it's probably going to be on both.
Yeah.
Could this be? I think it would be very cool if this was a launch title.
Yeah, a launch title that's on both. I'll be honest. I feel like there is so much that we just don't know because this trailer is kind of like just putting a lot of ideas out there. And I'll say, when I first watched it, I'm like, cool, they're doing a Pokemon City Builder. That's a cool idea. How do you build a city with that you have to have manage like Pokemon like coming into the city and that kind of thing. That would have been interesting. Or Pokemon-esque Animal Crossing or something like that. That would have been interesting.
A bit like Power World?
No,
about how
like
do Pokemon feature in the industrial growth of a world and how they can be used for different tasks throughout that world?
Yeah, maybe, but like not having to enslave people or what else? Like,
look, if you shade Pokemon in a different light, Pokemon is enslaving animals. So
I think the other this has gone deep, but one of the interesting things I saw pointed out in one of the articles, I can't remember which one, but someone pointed out that the character you play as in Arceus, when they first, because that game begins with the character, because you didn't play it, no one played it. That game begins with your character drops out of the sky, basically just appears out of nowhere, right?
You isekai, yeah, you get isekai.
What's that mean?
It's the Japanese genre of the main character getting taken from the modern world into a different world.
Yes. So when that character appears, they're wearing the basic design shirt for the male character from X and Y. So people, when this was announced, some people have been pointing out and going back to that and going, hey, remember when everyone was like, why is this character wearing the basic shirt design from X and Y? And now people are wondering if this is we'll continue that character story and maybe go back to the time they're actually from, which is Luminos City in the future, and it's continuing that story. I don't know why it matter, but that is an interesting tidbit that's the shirt they are wearing when they get. Would you say isekai?
Isekai, yes, isekai.
Yeah. Fun little thing there. Yeah. All right, that'll do it, I guess, for this week's episode of Arcade Couch. Let us know your thoughts, concerns, questions about anything we've talked about. Layoffs, Final Fantasy, Pokemon. That's the episode we had. You can follow us on Twitter, explosionhour.com/Twitter. You can follow us on Discord, explosionhour.com/Discord. If you want to support the show or the website, explosionhour.com/support takes you to our Ko-fi page. And until next week, same time, same couch. Goodbye.